remember this sentence, and then using this sentence we have to define the perpendicularity of segment and rays. Now, in this title, perpendicularity, this perpendicular word, perpendicular, you must know what do you mean by perpendicular, and this is to be studied about lines, of lines, perpendicular lines, we are going to study this perpendicularity of segment and rays, segments and rays, how the segments are perpendicular, how the rays are perpendicular, that is a part of study today. But already we should know what are the perpendicular lines. आपल्याला पहिल्यांदा परपेंडिक्युलर लाइन्स माहिती पाहिजे, तेव्हा आपल्याला परपेंडिक्युलर सेगमेंट्स आणि रेस समजतील. मी पहिल्यांदा परपेंडिक्युलर लाइन्सचा अभ्यास आपण करूया. What do you know about the perpendicular lines? So look here, the lines, I am saying lines, not the segments and rays, that is the study today only, but this is earlier study. Lines, two lines or more than two also you can say, lines intersect each other at right angle. Look here, this is the position. Line L and line M intersect each other at right angle, then that lines are called perpendicular lines to each other. Means line L is perpendicular to line M, means line M is perpendicular to line L. So when the two lines are said to be perpendicular to each other, if that lines intersect each other at right angle. For example, if I say that this is a line and this is a line, whether these lines just intersect each other, line M and line N intersect each other at point O, but they are not perpendicular to each other because of lines not intersecting each other at right angle. Any doubt? So, and one thing is to be remember always, lines never be bisected, don't use that word. So this definition of lines we have to use in this perpendicularity of segments and rays. So this is the definition of perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines, lines are perpendicular if they are intersecting to each other at right angle or in a 90 degree. Now, how to use this perpendicularity of lines, perpendicular lines in the perpendicularity of segments and rays? Now look here, I will draw the one by one figures. So this is very important study in geometry. Many of the students don't understand this well because of their lack of confidence, lack of concentration. So you have to must pay your attention on the board. Look here now, perpendicular of segments. I will start with segments. So look now here, this is a segment PQ. I am not drawing line, segment PQ, and I draw this segment, suppose AB. This is segment AB. Now, when this segment AB and segment PQ are said to be perpendicular to each other, that is our study. So this position of two segments can be like this also. This is very important. Same segment, segment PQ, and I just take segment here AB, segment AB, and now I say that segment AB is perpendicular to segment PQ. But when? How? That is the study. So this is about the segments. The first is the about segments. Second rays. Second rays. I will take a ray. Suppose PQ is one ray, and second ray I take here LM. This figure can be drawn like this also. Same figure. I take ray PQ and I just take this ray as LM. Segments, rays. Now a segment and a ray. Third figure. A segment. I have taken a segment, suppose XY. A segment. I take the ray, a ray. This is the ray. Suppose I can give the name as PM. The same figure can be drawn like this also. Same segment XY, and I take a ray like this. This is PM. So now look, two segments, two rays, a segment and a ray. When these are said to be perpendicular to each other, apply this property, apply this definition of perpendicular lines, and recall your previous knowledge of every segment and every ray is a subset of line. आता आपल्याला काय करायचं आहे, परपेंडिक्युलर लाईनची डेफिनेशन यूज करायची आहे, आणि ती यूज करत असताना आपल्याला जर माहिती असेल की एव्हरी सेगमेंट आणि एव्हरी रे लाईनचा सबसेट असतो, तर आपल्याला हे समजायला सोपं जाईल. आता मला सांगा, सेगमेंट पी क्यू इज अ सबसेट ऑफ लाईन. मग या ठिकाणी लाईन आहे की नाही याला कंटेन करणारी? देर इज अ लाईन कंटेनिंग, लिसन दिस सेंटेन्स, देर इज अ लाईन containing segment PQ. There is also a line containing segment AB. Segment AB. Now, line containing PQ, line containing AB, because every segment is a subset of line. No matter. Clear? Understand? Now, condition says that if the lines containing the segments, lines containing the segments, त्या सेगमेंटला कंटेन करणाऱ्या लाईन्स, या सेगमेंट पी क्यूला कंटेन करणारी लाईन आहे सपोज एल, सेगमेंट ए बीला कंटेन करणारी लाईन आहे सपोज एम. सो लाईन्स आर परपेंडिक्युलर टू. कंडिशन इज दॅट इफ द लाईन्स कंटेनिंग the segments, the lines containing the segments are perpendicular, then the segments are perpendicular. पहिले कोण परपेंडिक्युलर पाहिजे, तर त्यांना कंटेन करणाऱ्या लाईन. म्हणजे थोडक्यात काय म्हणायची, तर इफ लाईन एल इज परपेंडिक्युलर टू लाईन एम, देन वी कॅन से दॅट सेगमेंट पी क्यू इज परपेंडिक्युलर टू सेगमेंट ए बी. सेगमेंटला परपेंडिक्युलर व्हायचं असेल, सेगमेंटला परपेंडिक्युलर म्हणायचं असेल, तर आपल्याला हे माहीत पाहिजे की त्यांना कंटेन करणाऱ्या लाईन परपेंडिक्युलर असल्या पाहिजे. मीन्स दॅट लाईन मस्ट इंटरसेक्ट इच अदर ॲट राईट अँगल. म्हणजे आता याच्यानंतर जेव्हा जेव्हा आपण म्हणूयात की सेगमेंट पी क्यू हा ए बीला परपेंडिक्युलर आहे, तेव्हा क्लिअर लक्षात घ्यायचं आहे की बेसिकली त्यांना कंटेन करणाऱ्या लाईन परपेंडिक्युलर असतात, तेव्हा आपण त्या सेगमेंटला परपेंडिक्युलर म्हणतो. Any doubt? If the lines containing the segments are perpendicular to each other, then that segments are called perpendicular to each other. Same for this figure also. This is same for this. The line containing segment PQ is perpendicular to the line containing segment AB. This is a line. If these lines, and as you know that when the lines are perpendicular, if they intersect each other at right angle. So now look. In both figure, segment PQ is perpendicular to, and segment AB is perpendicular to PQ if the line containing them is perpendicular to the line PQ. Segment AB is perpendicular to segment PQ, it means line containing them are perpendicular to each other. Same concept is applied for two rays also. Now look here. Two rays are said to be perpendicular to each other if the lines containing them are perpendicular. Ray PQ is a subset of line, suppose L. Ray PQ is a subset of line L, means there is a line containing ray PQ. There is a line containing ray PQ, and there is a line containing ray LM also. There is a line containing ray LM, and I say that this ray LM and ray PQ are perpendicular to each other if these lines containing them are perpendicular to each other. If the lines containing the rays are perpendicular to each other, then the two rays are said to be perpendicular to each other. Though there is gap, don't think of this gap. So if I say that ray, line containing ray PQ, line containing ray LM is perpendicular to each other, are perpendicular to each other, then these two rays, ray PQ and ray LM, are perpendicular. Same here also, ray PQ is perpendicular to ray LM if the lines containing them are perpendicular to each other. Same we have to apply for the one segment and array, a segment and array. Same figures, only I put here gap and I don't put here gap. So though there is gap or no gap, then also you can say that segments are perpendicular, rays are perpendicular. Now there is a line containing segment XY, there is a line containing segment XY, there is a line containing ray PM, and the condition says that if the line containing the segment and array, lines containing to the segment and array are perpendicular to each other, then that ray and that segments are perpendicular to each other. I put here the name, suppose x, and this is line y. If I say that if line x is perpendicular to line y, then we can say that ray segment xy or ray pm, segment xy is perpendicular to ray pm, vice versa ray pm is perpendicular to segment xy, same for both. So this is about the perpendicularity of segment and ray. I will revise in one sentence. Look, this definition can be stated in one sentence. If the lines containing, remember, and constant on the board, if the lines containing the two segments, two rays, one segment and one ray are perpendicular to each other, then the two segments, two rays and one segment and array are said to be perpendicular to each other. What is the definition? If the lines containing two segments, ह्या दोन सेगमेंटला कंटेन करणाऱ्या लाईन्स काय असल्या पाहिजे? परपेंडिक्युलर्स. लाईन परपेंडिक्युलर केव्हा असतात? जेव्हा लाईन्स ह्या एकमेकांना राईट अँगलमध्ये इंटरसेक्ट करतात. जर त्या राईट अँगलमध्ये इंटरसेक्ट करत असतील तर त्यांच्यावरचे जे दोन सेगमेंट्स आहेत, जे सेगमेंट त्या लाईनचे सबसेट आहेत, ते सेगमेंट परपेंडिक्युलर असतात. If the lines containing two segments, two rays, one segment and one ray are said to be perpendicular to each other if the lines containing them are perpendicular to each other. If the lines containing two segments, two rays, one segment and one ray are perpendicular to each other, then the two segments, two rays and one segment, one ray are perpendicular to each other. Remember the definition, very very important definition, as long as the segments are said to be perpendicular to each other. Now, last definition of this chapter, of this point, that is distance of a point from a line. It is also very very important. This definition also plays very important role in geometry. Many of the students don't understand this, how this distance is calculated of a line from a point. So there are some distances: point to point distance, line to point distance and line to line distance. These three distances are very very important in geometry: point to point, point to line and line to line. आपल्याला तीन डिस्टन्सेस जॉमेट्रीमध्ये फार महत्त्वाची आहेत: पॉईंट टू पॉईंट डिस्टन्स, पॉईंट टू लाईन डिस्टन्स आणि लाईन टू लाईन डिस्टन्स. पॉईंट टू पॉईंट डिस्टन्स आपण बघितलं आहे, लार्जर कॉर्डिनेट मायनस स्मॉलर कॉर्डिनेट आपल्याला ते काढता येतं. आणि समजा हा पॉईंट आहे पी आणि हा पॉईंट आहे क्यू, पॉईंट पी आणि क्यू यांचं डिस्टन्स काढायचं असेल तर आपल्याला जस्ट त्याची लेंथ जरी मोजली तर आपल्याला सेगमेंटची लेंथ जरी मोजली तर या दोन पॉईंटवर डिस्टन्स मिळतं. लेंथ ऑफ पी क्यूज म्हणजेच काय, पॉईंट पी आणि क्यूमधलं डिस्टन्स हे आपल्याला इझिली मिळतं. हे पॉईंट टू पॉईंट डिस्टन्स आहे. आता आपल्याला बघायचं आहे डिस्टन्स ऑफ अ पॉईंट फ्रॉम अ लाईन. डिस्टन्स ऑफ अ पॉईंट फ्रॉम अ लाईन. डिस्टन्स ऑफ अ पॉईंट from a line. Now look, I take one line, I draw one line here. This is suppose line L. I take another point which is not on line, that is suppose P. I may give the name that is line by two letters also, AB, line AB or line L. You may give by any one, two letters or one letter. I have given by two letters. Now, as you know that perpendicularity, I just studied just now. This segment PM, I say now, segment PM is perpendicular to line AB. It means that line containing this segment PM is perpendicular to line AB. Now, this PM is perpendicular to AB, but one condition is there. This point M at which that segment intersects AB lie on line AB. Means there should be the betweenness A dash M dash B. Clear? So this can be extended like that also. You can know. You should know that one. So M point may be here, any point, but we want that point on this segment which is on line AB. So that where that intersect, that point is on a AB. So now look here. If segment PM is perpendicular to line AB and point M is on line AB, हा पॉइंट M लाईन AB वर पाहिजे असं का म्हटलं असेल? कारण या लाईनवर या PM सेगमेंटला कंटेन करणाऱ्या इन्फानाईट लाईन्स आहेत. हे सॉरी इन कंटेन करणारी लाईन आहे आणि त्या लाईनवर इन्फानाईट पॉईंट्स आहेत. मग हा पॉईंट नेमका कुठे आहे? तो इथे पण असू शकतो, इथे आहे का इथे आहे. पॉईंट M नेमका कुठे आहे? मी सपोज याला सेगमेंट PM मी असंही म्हणू शकतो ना, सेगमेंट PM इज परपेंडिक्युलर टू AB. At what point? So O also, P also, T also, Q also. But whatever may be that point at which that perpendicular I want, that point must be on the AB. म्हणून म्हणलंय सेगमेंट PM असा सुद्धा वाचता येतो आणि म्हणून आपल्याला M पॉईंट हा या लाईनवर या सेगमेंट PQ वर कुठेही नको, तर तो पॉईंट सेगमेंट PM वर पण पाहिजे, PM ला कंटेन करणाऱ्या लाईनवर पण पाहिजे आणि AB वर पण पाहिजे. म्हणजे इट शुड बी कॉमन to line PM and line AB. It means at which that segment PM intersect, that point of intersection is M. म्हणजे हा पॉईंट M हा दुसरी तिसरी कुठे नाही, तर तो M हा पॉईंट A आणि B च्या इन बिटवीन आहे. ही कंडिशन आहे. सो इफ सेगमेंट PM and line AB segment PM is perpendicular line AB and M is on line AB. लाईन AB वर M का पाहिजे याचा अर्थ तुम्हाला समजला असेल, कारण तो सेगमेंट PM ला कंटेन करणारी लाईन आहे. ती लाईन एक्सटेंड केली तर M पॉईंट कुठे असू शकतो, तो नेमका कुठे आहे, तर तो आपल्याला पाहिजे लाईन AB वर, म्हणून तो घेतला आपण. हां, तर देन दिस लेंथ ऑफ PM is the distance between the point P and line AB. आता लाईन AB हे डिस्टन्स, लाईन ABचं पॉईंट P पासून डिस्टन्स काय सांगतं, तर ह्या PMची जी लेंथ आहे, सेगमेंट PMची लेंथ म्हणजे त्या लाईनचं त्या पॉईंटपासूनचं डिस्टन्स आहे. समजा ही PMची लेंथ आपण x कन्सिडर केली. इफ लेंथ ऑफ PM is equals to x, then we can say that the distance between the point P and line AB is x units. I hope you understand this. आता याला जर आपण अशी फिगर काढली, बरेच मुलं कन्फ्युजन करतात. पॉईंट P आहे आणि समजा मी असा सेगमेंट घेतला, तर ही लेंथ समजा y असेल, तर ही लेंथ PMची लेंथ लाईन Lचं त्या पॉईंट P पासूनचं डिस्टन्स सांगत नाही. This y do not represent the distance of point P from line L. So to represent the distance of a line from a point, that segment should be perpendicular. So length of perpendicular segment is the distance between the point and line. Remember this sentence. The length of perpendicular segment is the distance between the point and line. So today we are taking all the definitions. Tomorrow we shall start the practice set 1.2. So thank you.